The storm starts when the drops start dropping.
What would Seuss say?
Let it snow, let it go, I don't know.
His birthday, another snow day.
And the Grinch with the Grinch feet ice cold in the snow stood puzzling.
And puzzling, how could it be so?
Weaving Dr. Seuss's words and the weather together.
If you never did, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good.
As the flakes fall,
When the drops stop dropping, the storm starts stopping.
we take note of his quotes.
What do you know about Dr. Seuss?
He don't like green eggs and ham.
Winter can't keep us from being soothsayers.
What's up? Yeah, I know Dr. Seuss. I used to read him when I was a kid.
Favorite line, take your picks. On the day Seuss would have turned 106.
It's very Dr. Seussy.
At first, we weren't sure how to celebrate the date.
As the good doctor once said, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose.
And will you succeed? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 98.75% guaranteed.
Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way.
Saying so much by not saying so much at all.
A person's a person, no matter how small.
His rhymes have a reason and a rhythm.
I think he would say, let's move, let's pray, and let's groove.
Life lessons to endure the worst of weather.
Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Yes, my story about snow snowballed into something Seuss.
He would look at it in a different way than we would now.
I like nonsense. It wakes up the brain cells.
In honor of the opera.
The precipitation causes so much conversation. What would Seuss say, yay?
Damn!
With that, my essay ends.
Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
It happened to me and you.
Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss, we love you.
Just a blur. The time goes by.
Anything can happen.
Compelled to commute.
Every day you wake up in the morning,
Day and night, almost on autopilot.
you mean you don't know what you're driving into or what you're going to walk into?
Here in Canton, it's hard to pass without at least acknowledging it.
It happened right over there.
The bridge dedicated to Trooper Sean David Blanton. Marking the territory that takes us back in time, June 17th, 2008.
I think of a bad tragedy that happened on the interstate.
The traffic stop turned tragedy.
Howard County 911, where's your emergency?
Ma'am, it's been shot.
A sign that seems even more poignant during the trial of his killer, Eduardo Wong.
When they see that bridge, maybe it should just make them think of how fortunate we are to have such a police force and such a highway patrol.
Marking the murder of a 24-year-old. He was married with a 2-week-old child fighting for his life in the hospital.
I can't even imagine losing a child.
As if our collective sense of loss could feel any worse, little Ty died just 4 months later.
It's heartbreaking because that family, lost their link.
Rolling by, we only see Blanton's name briefly, but the snapshot is enough reason to reflect.
It was a sad time for Canton.
The trial is over now.
Nothing's going to make that right.
Even when justice is served, for family, forever emptiness. The verdict certainly won't heal Sean's little brothers.
You can't ever feel that spot that someone had on your heart, that impression they made on you.
On Blanton's Bridge, you can't exit to escape the somber reality. Can't change lanes past the lingering sense of sadness.
The outcome of a trial like this might bring some peace and healing, but it doesn't restore it.
It'll always be here in the county to remember.
Loved ones can only hope Trooper Sean Blanton's loss gives us something to gain in life.
Don't hold back, just live to the fullest. That's how Sean lived.
So the bridge in his memory is a source of both pain and pride. But the road to closure, that's a work in progress.
Every day of my life I think about Sean.
Painting is the fun part. By doing his homework and digging deep, Steve Daniels makes retelling history an art form.
What's happening right now? We're updated live on a need-to-know basis. Yet sometimes
I'm just adding highlights.
we miss the biggest stories of all time.
This was the night before the Battle of Midway.
Steve Daniels looks through a lens, opening the window to history.
However, how can you photograph something that has happened in the past? This is my first sketch, and then I transfer that onto the illustration board and paint from there.
Steve may not have a camera.
It's almost like taking a snapshot that particular night.
His talent turns back the clock to times that might otherwise be forgotten.
This is the first time in history this particular aircraft delivered torpedoes to the enemy fleet.
The historian, who happens to be an artist.
And the Navy Department at first said, well, we don't think that happened. So I said, check on it, and if you find anything, send it to me. About a month later, they sent me the lead pilot's battle report. It says this is a historical incident, being the first night torpedo attacks by our patrol planes on surface ships.
Decades after the fact, the scoop on a World War II story.
This particular piece is going to the Naval Air Museum in Pensacola.
One of many vintage headlines he's captured with color.
Well, we're here at the Southern Museum of Flight in Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome to Moulton Field, soldier. If you're reporting for flight training, check in over at Hangar 1.
Lieutenant No Kum Sok was once an elite pilot for North Korea.
September 21st, 1953. That's more important than my birthday.
That's the day he defected to the U.S., now going by the name Kenneth Rowe.
So I became North Korea's #1 enemy.
Daniels gives us the portrait of a 21-year-old determined to be free, facing Americans for the first time.
The first time I heard English-speaking people speaking English to each other. Boy, that was beautiful language.
Finally meet you.
Yeah.
A display at the Southern Museum of Flight in Birmingham.
Yeah, that's realistic.
The former lieutenant for North Korea, willing to die for democracy.
What altitude were you flying?
I think about 20 to 30,000 feet.
Landing his MiG-15 at Kimpo Air Force Base in South Korea.
Yeah, because I wanted a better and honorable life in democratic country. I want to get hell out of those places and go to the U.S. and pursue the happy life.
Did you think you were going to die?
I sensed that my chance of success was at the best 20%.
The historical background can't be overlooked. Not bad, especially considering Steve's shortcomings.
Years ago, I started to go to college and take art, but all they wanted to teach was abstract. They told me my work was too photographic. As most of you probably been in the military.
But today, that sense of realism is exactly what draws aviation buffs.
Even at the age of 4.
To his work.
I could draw all the ships my dad was on.
For several years, he was an artist in the Air Force.
And I did artist concepts of top secret aircraft.
But Steve's talent was too good to be top secret, eventually finding his historic niche, including an image that took George Herbert Walker Bush back in the cockpit in World War II.
The very first words that President Bush said to me was, "How did you get it so accurate?"
So many of his subjects are dead, which makes his work even more poignant.
The people that appreciate it the most are the people that were actually there.
The signature event of a lifetime.
And when you get to the #1 print, you keep it.
This is the date, my turning point.
So I feel very fortunate to be able to meet Ken in person.
I'm free.
Keeping moments from fading into the past.
If I didn't escape, probably I might be dead by now.
Steve can't go live with a brush.
It's like putting a puzzle together.
But with the benefit of time, he maximizes his medium.
I really, really enjoy doing all the research.
In his own way, delivering the news.
Steve Daniels is now working on a series of books to bring aviation to children. He hopes Cubby the Plane becomes the next Thomas the Tank Engine.
It's the time of the year when gift shops sell us on just the right thing to say.
Fond memories.
But the perfect sentiment
At every ball game.
doesn't always come
#1 fan right there.
from a card.
You know, it's wonderful, too, that they pass on that legacy. Well, I have the best dad there is. There's no doubt about it.
Echoing between the aisles,
Mom's 86 and Daddy's 88.
Lois and Lisa reminisce.
We've both been here to get cards, of course, and then we talking about our fathers.
He always was correcting our grammar.
To each, there really is no comparison.
He was my #1 fan.
And worked very hard.
Lois's father, James Brotherton, was never able to finish grammar school.
He was able to instill in us a love for education.
Which makes it remarkable.
I became a teacher.
That firm hand.
Oh, absolutely. And children, I think, often don't turn around and say thank you to their dad.
Believe me, I think of him often, but when it's Father's Day, I don't have that opportunity to. That's why I treasure the memories.
Lisa lost her dad, Bud Wilson, when he was just 46. He died on Christmas Day of 1982.
My friend to talk with.
So now Lisa buys cards for her husband and grandfather.
But when I watch you as a dad.
But it's two dads who gave these women a sense of who they are. On Father's Day weekend, they celebrate a job well done. In their own words.
You should be so lucky to have a dad like mine.
Summing up.
You should be so lucky.
What it meant to have the best.
For my father, treasure the memories. A wonderful father that took time